Aloha kakaya kakako, Michael Kilamau Tengan here. Apologies for the disconnect on the last posting. As is usually the case, walking through the farmers market here in upcountry Maui is usually just as busy shopping as it is gabbing. And so I ran into someone, wanted to say hi, hadn't seen him for a little while, but wanted to comment in terms of the importance of places like this. You know, these areas in terms of a food hub are critically important for our communities. You know, we've become so dependent upon going and doing our shopping at Costco's and our grocery stores, which is great and convenient. However, we've built our entire system of community around convenience. And so what we've effectively done is we have taken out a critical necessary aspect that has really allowed our communities, particularly here in Hawaii, to thrive. And that has been an interdependence in terms of thinking about the ahupua'a system, for example. You know, there were so many people who lived here in Hawaii, 1.2 million people, you know, pre-contact, and just thinking about it in terms of what allows a community to thrive, particularly when you have a higher population density in an area, is really the understanding of the ecosystem that we all belong to. And so what I was commenting upon earlier is that, you know, I grew up in a farmer's market setting pretty much. Every summer we'd fly back, my brother and I would fly back to Oahu, which is where the Tengans dwell right now, and spend time with our grandparents. And our grandparents worked on a banana farm, had a banana farm. And so we spent Fridays harvesting the bananas, tending to the weeds and whatnot, and then on Wednesdays and Mondays we would end up doing the farmers markets in Kaimaki, and then also down in the what was that area called, Paki Park, down towards Waikiki. And so, you know, just being a child who grew up in a farmer's market really allowed me to connect to the importance of how it plays a vital role in our communities. Now, in looking at our communities here, particularly what's happening in Maui County with our relationship to agriculture and food production, what we are facing is an opportunity to really rewrite the narrative. And when I say that, I mean being able to look to each other for support. I think this really particularly comes into mind and into heart with the storms that have been coming through. You know, hurricane after hurricane, our location and whatnot, it really brings attention to the importance of our local food systems. And so being able to really not just grow the food, because that's definitely a piece of it, but when we're talking about, you know, big picture thinking, community and food systems, we also want to consider, you know, the market, which is what essentially this is, right? An access point for people to come and to purchase their food. Also the way that we can consume it, the way that we can reappropriate it, or, you know, use it for producing something else. Now, as all this happens, what we see is that model of interconnectivity, that ahupua'a system, once again enlivened, reinvigorated, and really an answer and a solution to our feeling generally of being disconnected from our community. You know, it's interesting because when we start to really look at community, we see a lot of things that are really symptomatic of that. You know, the pervasive feeling of loneliness, for example. We can see it in terms of different health parameters as well. And so what we really want to do is be able to look at things like this, the farmers market or different food hubs, places to gather for our communities to really thrive. And for that to happen also means that there's an area and place of contribution. So here, you know, with our farmers who are growing the food for us to consume, but also for people to utilize for products that they're making. As we really start to link all of these different pieces together, what we can really see is an interconnected and dependent community that supports each other in our growth. And when we do that, then everyone wins. You know, we can see then local access points increasing, right? Funnily enough, so many places here in Hawaii that has a rich history of agriculture would be considered food deserts, because that access point, particularly in areas that are more country or rural, they may have farms available, but the farms may not be growing food for the people. You know, one thing that definitely happens in terms of being able to make a business in the agricultural sector is being able to have a market, and that market tends to be those who can afford it, and those who can afford it tend to be, you know, hotels or restaurants. And even when our farmers are producing high caliber, beautifully, mindfully, organically grown produce, there may not necessarily be an active market that can pay what it's worth. And so as we move forward, move Maui as well as the rest of Hawaii forward, then the thing to really look at is how can we better focus upon our food systems to reinvigorate that sense of community and self. All right, that's it for me. I'm gonna head on back, finish off my shopping, and then heli on out of here. Love and aloha to you all. Take care, and ahui ho.